Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In this video, I want to share some post-burn reviews of the 3 Kringle candle winter flight fragrances that are going to be launching on Thursday, December 4th at noon Eastern. I received these candles in PR, so a huge thank you to Kringle for sending these so that I could share my thoughts with all of you. There are 2 fragrances in this collection that I really, really love, and there's one, you might be able to tell already, there is one that I have kind of been struggling with, so I am always forthcoming about my personal scent preferences. Those are going to vary from person to person. Just because there's one of these fragrances that didn't really rock my world, you might actually enjoy it. So I will try to be as objective as possible when sharing these reviews, but obviously I do have some personal preferences. I'll let you guys know how I rank these. A lot of you seem to really like when reviewers share their like favorite to least favorite or vice versa. So I will tell you what my faves are, but I think you'll be able to tell anyway. So anyway, really looking forward to this particular launch, and I am curious to see what you guys think about these fragrances as well. If you missed my first video this morning, which admittedly had some really rough lighting, I filmed that after work earlier this week, and yeah, that was, the lighting's a little rough, but you can hear me just fine, so I guess enjoy the ambiance on that one. But that video will be linked in the description box down below. Those are my thoughts on the Reserve launch that is also happening at the exact same time as this winter flight launch here. So if you're interested in these, I'll put a link to where to shop with Kringle Candle at the very top of the description box. If you don't have any rewards points to apply, you can use my discount code Melanie15. I'll put that on the screen here as well as in the description box. That will save you 15% off of your purchase of these candles when they launch. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So let's dive into these 3 fragrances and discuss what my experience has been burning these for the last, I think it's been like a week and a half, 2 weeks that I've been burning these. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what my thoughts are. I think I'm going to go ahead and share these reviews in order from favorite to least favorite. So we're going to kick it off in the middle with Frosted Dawn. Now, a lot of other reviewers have already stated this, and I definitely agree with them. Frosted Dawn is very similar to Bath & Body Works Winter. A fun fact about me is that it took me forever to try Winter. I don't know why I never really thought about trying it sooner, but it just wasn't one of those scents, at least as far as like the description went, that really grabbed my attention. So last December was the first time that I purchased Winter and reviewed it, and I did really enjoy it. But you know what? I think that this Frosted Dawn is even better. There's something maybe slightly more sophisticated, just something that's a little bit more beautiful, at least to my nose, in Frosted Dawn than Winter even. And like I said, I think Winter is a really, lovely fragrance. So I'm going to go ahead and I will read through the top, middle, and base notes. I'll tell you what I smell here. Then we'll dig into the overall strength and throw, and then of course lastly address any burn issues. So we will do that for all 3 of these candles. So let me see here. Oh, I lost, okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to find my fragrance notes. All right, so the top notes for Frosted Dawn are mulled fruit, fir needle, and lemon peel. The mid notes are clove, cinnamon bark, and maple. And then at the base we have balsamic frankincense, musk, and smoky vanilla. All right, let's start at the top with the mulled fruits. Okay, to me, I feel like I get a mulled apple and mulled orange out of this particular fragrance. My like reference point for that is when I make Glühwein around the holidays. I usually will put in fresh apple slices as well as fresh orange slices into the Glühwein so that those flavors infuse into the wine as I am warming it. And I really do feel like I am smelling the like infused apple and specifically orange here. Without the booziness from the wine. I don't want to imply that this is a boozy fragrance. It's not. It's specifically the like that kind of warmed apple and warmed orange note that I'm referencing here. It is fantastic. I love apple and orange around the holidays, so it's really nice to have that included here. I absolutely smell a like balsam fir type note in here as well. I've been burning this particular fragrance in my entryway where I do have one of my Christmas trees. I have fake trees in my house because I don't really like the mess of a real tree. So for me, having a candle that has some tree notes in it is really important because I do miss the smell of having a real tree. I think that this is a really authentic fir note here, and it is beautiful, and it's quite prominent as well. The lemon peel. I do smell some lemon peel in here, but it's not an overly astringent or super fresh like lemon essence. It's almost like a little bit of like a toned down lemon peel, but it is quite, I would say, noticeable, not aggressive, but it is there. And it ties in really well, I think, with the like mulled orange that I mentioned. So the top notes, all three are very present to my nose. The mid notes, there's one note that I'm missing here, and it's the maple. I don't actually smell any maple in here at all. Maple is something that I have started to somewhat enjoy in home fragrance, but I'm still a little like, it's not always my favorite because to me it can smell kind of cloying. This fragrance is not overly sweet at all, and when I first saw the notes, I just kind of expected it to maybe be sweeter, but it's really not. I don't smell any maple, but I do smell the cinnamon, and this smells more of like a Ceylon cinnamon to my nose. It is not red hot cinnamon, so if you like to avoid that, you're definitely avoiding that here. The clove. I do smell a really nice, beautiful clove note in here as well. I would say the clove that's in here is kind of at the same level as my vintage pomander fragrance. It's present, but it's not overly strong and aggressive. So I love the amount of clove in here. It is absolute perfection. Let's go to the base. This is where I think this fragrance kind of really shines, specifically with the frankincense note. This to me, the frankincense in here smells very similar to an incense that my Oma and my mom both used to use around the holidays. When I was growing up in Germany, we used to have these little incense warmers where it was in the shape of a Santa Claus, that like a little wooden Santa that had a pipe, and you would put these incense cones into the middle of the Santa. You would put the top on, and then the smoke would come essentially out of the pipe. It was adorable. I'm trying to hunt one of these things down so that I can have one for myself. But yeah, the frankincense that I'm smelling here smells so familiar, and I think it's because that particular incense that both my mom and my Oma used when I was growing up, it definitely had frankincense in it. And it smells really nostalgic to my nose, and it definitely gives me like the holiday vibes. I know that this is a winter flight collection, but I happen to think that Frosted Dawn would have been such an amazing fragrance for a Christmas collection. This is, in my eyes, such a beautiful Christmas scent. And the addition of that frankincense, I think, makes this one really, really special. It's not overly incensey. If you tend to be sensitive to incense, I wouldn't automatically write this one off, but I do love that particular note in here, and it does make the fragrance a lot more nostalgic for me personally. It just brings back a lot of fond memories. The musk, I would not consider this a musky fragrance. I think that in some fragrances, musk is a standalone note, and in other fragrances, it helps to kind of support the rest of the fragrance notes. This is a case where I think the musk must be supporting the rest of the fragrance notes, because nothing about this screams musk to my nose at all. The smoky vanilla. Now, this I do definitely, I think that it is present. I don't smell a ton of vanilla here, and I only get like a little bit of like a smoky vibe. There's not a heavy hearth or coal or ember type note that I pick up here. It's very, very slight. It's subtle, but there's just enough of it to, I think, add that kind of cozy vibe that you can sometimes get from these hearth or smoldering ember type scents. In my review this morning of the reserve candles that are launching at the same time, I mentioned that the smoldering embers is like really intensely smoky. This Frosted Dawn is almost on the other end of the spectrum, where it's just the slightest hint, but just enough to make it special. You guys, this is a great fragrance. Fragrance-wise, they knocked this one out of the park. It's 10 out of 10. I'm going to be repurchasing this one. This is one of those that I hope actually sticks around. Even if they like relabel it, rename it or whatever for next holiday season and include it in an actual like, you know, season-long collection. Whatever they do, they need to just keep this one around. It's beautiful, and for me, this is one that I will absolutely be purchasing a backup of. It is fabulous, and it's one of those fragrances that should be a Kringle staple. This has been performing quite well in terms of strength and throw. I have had this mostly in the entryway because I really like how this smells next to my Christmas tree. I do have this in my Chester Hurricane on my entryway table or console table that I have out there. So that may have amped up the throw just a little bit, but also my entryway it's got really great airflow. Usually if I have a candle that is a little bit lighter, if I put it in the entryway, the strength and throw, you know, increases a little bit because of the airflow that's in that particular area. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the strength of this at a solid 7, but it's been performing for me at a little bit more of an 8 within that Hurricane. Yeah, but I have burned this, for example, just in the family room, just to be able to test it. And it's a solid performer whether you have a Hurricane or not, if that makes sense. But I do think the Hurricane maybe helped amp it up just a little bit more. The throw, solid 7. In the entryway, I'm going to give it more of an 8 just because of the setup that I had it in. But this is a solid medium performer from Kringle, and yeah, no problems here for me. In fact, I'd like to see this in a 4-wick. When this comes back, I would like the option of a 4-wick to get even more potency out of it, because this is one of those scents that I would love to just have fill my entire house as a background fragrance. This is something really great to layer upon, either putting other fruity scents on top or other holiday tree scents on top. It's just a great layering fragrance. So, and then of course the overall burn quality, let's discuss that really quickly. No issues. As you can see, solid clean burn, no sooting, no discoloration of the wax. No problem with the wicks. I have been trimming the wicks between each burn. I don't get overly big mushroom tops on this particular one. It seems to just be a, you know, like a normal clean Kringle burn. So no problems with this one, and it is definitely hands down my favorite from this particular launch. And I really highly recommend this one. Next, let's move on to Snowy Cascade. All right, guys, this one is definitely my second favorite out of this launch. I would say that Snowy Cascade and Parisian Frost are two fresh scents, but the freshness of Snowy Cascade is much more likable to my nose than the freshness that's coming from Parisian Frost. So you might be kind of surprised with the top notes here because the first thing that I'm going to read off to you from Snowy Cascade is eucalyptus. If you know me, you know that I friggin' hate eucalyptus, and it's only because it reminds me of work. I'm a florist. We work with a lot of eucalyptus, especially for weddings, and anytime that I smell it, it reminds me of work. And while I do love my job, I'm very lucky to be able to do what I do. It's super fun. I don't necessarily want my house to smell like my job, you know? So also I find eucalyptus just kind of aggressive to my nose. It's not like invigorating to me. It smells aggressive. So those are my thoughts on eucalyptus, in case you wondered. So we have eucalyptus, ginger, and anise star at the top. The mid notes are bergamot, cedarwood, geranium, and orange. And then at the base, we have the nutmeg, the petitgrain, and the musk. So again, here, there are notes that I definitely pick up. And there are other notes that I'm a little bit more like, I don't really smell that. So let's start at the top with the eucalyptus. And we're back. Sorry about that abrupt interruption there, but that was my boss calling me. So had to take that one. All right, eucalyptus. Do I smell it in here? I do. I do smell eucalyptus, you guys. But you know what? It's not overly aggressive. It's also not the most prominent fragrance note here. When eucalyptus is blended in small doses, I definitely find it enjoyable. This is a small dose of eucalyptus that adds just a touch of freshness, and then it backs off. It doesn't keep coming at you as the fragrance is burning. A lot of eucalyptus fragrances, I feel like, just are so in your face. That is not the case with this one. So if you're like me and you normally are like, ugh, absolutely not with eucalyptus, you might want to consider this one because, like I said, I really thoroughly have enjoyed this one. Do I smell some ginger in here? The tiniest touch of ginger. And it's a really fresh, like you just cut ginger in half and you stick your nose into that. That is the ginger that I smell, but it's a small dose of it. The anise star. I do smell a little bit of that like licoricey anise type note. Again, not overly potent or aggressive. If you don't normally like licorice, it might be noticeable enough for those licorice haters to maybe avoid this one. But I don't know, I like it. And I'm not like huge on, you know, licorice or anise per se, but little just like touches of it, I think can definitely be enjoyable. And there is definitely just a touch of it here. Now, these mid notes, the bergamot, I really feel like there is a lot of bergamot in this one. And bergamot is also one of those notes where either I really love it or I'm like, oh, it's too much. This is the perfect I love it amount. It is not subtle, but it is quite noticeable. And I would say it's the most prominent note in this fragrance. The cedarwood is present. It's not an overly woody scent. And this one doesn't really smell like the holidays to my nose. So if you're looking for more of like a holiday fresh type scent, I don't know that I would recommend this one. I think it's a great fragrance for the winter for sure. This is like the perfect collection for this one. It is going to be a lovely fragrance for January and February when you're looking to kind of clean the air a little bit, just looking for a little bit more freshness. That is when this one is going to shine, especially with the amount of bergamot that's in here. The cedarwood, like I said, a little tiny bit. I do smell a little bit of that floral geranium note. I really do like the smell of geraniums. Again, it's a nostalgic thing for me. My Oma used to grow them. That was one of her favorite flowers. So I distinctly smell geranium in here. There's not a ton of floral going on, but just that little hint of it with that like To me, geranium smells almost a little bit green, definitely floral, but a little bit green. And I think that that is a great addition to a fragrance that is, you know, perfect for after the holidays. It kind of signifies maybe things coming back to life, you know, like obviously we're still in the middle of winter in January, but there's that promise of like, you know, spring on the way. And I think that little bit of green floral kind of hints at that in this one. There is a tiny bit of a fresh orange note as well. So pretty much most of the mid notes here are quite present and prominent to my nose. I'm missing a couple of the notes here in the base again. I don't really smell any nutmeg in here, and I don't really smell the petitgrain either. So you might pick those up. I do not. The musk, I do think is present here. This smells like a very clean white muskiness at the base of this one. It doesn't take anything away from the freshness at all though. I think it just makes everything maybe stand out a little bit more. But yeah, you guys, this is a fresh scent that I can get behind, and you can tell that I definitely have burned this one, not like overly aggressively, but I have definitely enjoyed this one. This is one of those scents that right now I have been burning in both the family room and then oddly enough in our master bedroom. Our master bedroom bathroom, I guess I should say. Our master bathroom is quite large. It's an oversized bathroom. Honestly, I wish it wasn't quite as big as it was because it's a pain in the butt for me to clean. But it really is a great scent for the bathroom. So if you also have a larger master bathroom and you're looking for something to bring in there to enjoy in January, this would be a great fresh fragrance for a bathroom setting. So yeah, overall, the fragrance I think is really lovely. Is it something that I would hoard or stock up on myself? No, but it is a nice change of pace, and this is one that I will definitely be saving for January, because January for me is one of those months where I'm like, ugh, I don't know what to burn. I just kind of feel a little bit lost. So stuff like this is perfect for that. I was gonna say no burn issues with this one, but we have to discuss the strength in the throw really quickly. So yeah, let me just get that out of the way. There's no burn issues here. As you can see, nice, clean, solid burn. No issues with the wicks, but the strength and throw of this one, I would also put at a very consistent medium. So let's give it a number of 7. I do maybe the throw of this one, and maybe it's because it's one of those fragrances that, you know, I like, but I don't necessarily like love. I do maybe notice this one a little bit more, and I think it actually travels quite far. I would put the throw maybe at more of like an 8 for myself. So it covers a lot of like a lot of square footage. So if you're looking for that, this may be a really great option for you. So no burn issues and a solid medium strength and throw. So there you have it. All right, let's tackle this Parisian frost, you guys. It is starting to, it's definitely starting to really pull out here, as you can see. I lit these all at the same time. You can see these have pulled out a little bit quicker here. This one is still getting going. But Parisian frost is very fresh, and it's a level of freshness that just, I think, goes over my head personally. So you already know that I don't care for it, but let's go through the notes. This will kind of, I think, explain why I maybe don't care for this one as much. So at the top, we have bergamot, rosemary, and basil. For the mid notes, we have lavender, jasmine, and musette, which if you're not familiar with musette, it's lily of the valley. At the base, we have moss, patchouli, armoise, I hope I'm saying that correctly, as well as santal. All right, so at the top, there's bergamot. And this is, for me personally, bergamot done wrong, because this is a very aggressive bergamot. There is so much of it, and it's so intense. and so like citrusy, kind of limey fresh that it's too much for me. With this level of like bergamot, it starts to smell like a bathroom cleaner to my nose, if that makes sense. It's just too much. So if you like bergamot, I think you're gonna love this one. This year, was it this year? I'm pretty sure it was this year that Country Candle put out a bergamot fragrance. And it was pure bergamot to my nose. I really couldn't do it. I had to pass that candle along to someone else who liked bergamot a lot more than I did, and they enjoyed the heck out of that candle. So I'm glad it went to a good home, but that was so overwhelming to my nose. This is that same level of overwhelming bergamot here. I don't even smell the rosemary. I don't even smell the basil. So I'm gonna skip over those. The mid notes, the lavender. Okay, there's also a lot of lavender in here, and lavender is another one of those notes that I just personally struggle with. The lavender in Christmas time in the city, gorgeous. That's the perfect amount. The lavender in Parisian Frost is way too much. It is, again, very astringent to my nose. It kind of smells like an old-fashioned lavender. I can't get behind the lavender at all. Jasmine. I don't smell any jasmine. I love jasmine. A clean white jasmine note. Gorgeous. In fact, I would love to see Kringle put out just a straight up jasmine scent. Maybe jasmine mixed with like a little tiny bit of vanilla. That would be stunning. But yeah, there is no jasmine here. But there certainly is some lily of the valley. And lily of the valley is very potent, very intense, and it's also a little, it's got like an interesting sweetness to it. Lily of the valley is just a very potent floral note, and there is just a lot of that in here. And as someone who has worked with real lily of the valley for bridal bouquets, I feel like I like the smell of the real flower more than I do like lily of the valley in home fragrance. And I don't know what maybe the difference is. I feel like in home fragrance, maybe it's just made to smell more potent, more aggressive. It just is, it's one of those headache inducing florals for me. And this has a healthy dose of that particular note. Now these base notes here, the only one that I'm going to mention is the moss, because there is kind of an interesting green mossy note that runs throughout this one. I think that the moss adds just like a tiny touch of depth to the fragrance, but that is mostly then like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's mostly muted, I guess, by the lavender, by the bergamot, by that Musette or lily of the valley note. There is no patchouli here. The armoise, I don't smell that at all, and I don't smell any of the santal either. So to me, this is mostly a combination of like an aggressive citrusy type note, an old-fashioned lavender, and then that lily of the valley, just bringing it up the rear for the trifecta of things that I don't like. So yeah, obviously this one I'm struggling with. I'm gonna pass this one along to a girlfriend who has actually already commented how much she likes this one. So we're gonna pass that along to her after this video so that she can enjoy that particular fragrance, but it's a pass for me. The Strength and Throw, however, don't you worry, it's a delight on this one. I don't know if it's because I just don't like it and I just, like, my nose just kind of fixates on it, but like the strength of this one is like an 8. It's so much. The throw, I don't know. It doesn't travel like to fill the entire like house, thankfully. I would actually put the throw of this one more between like a 6 and a 7. It stays a little bit more contained, but the area in which it is burning, it is intense. So yeah, maybe this one would be good if you're looking for like more of a like room or area specific type of location. Thankfully this one hasn't like completely taken over. So, yeah, but it's potent. I mean, in this room right now, so there's obviously 3 like, I wouldn't say vastly different fragrances, but yeah, I mean, this one is definitely different from these 2 in that it's not super fresh, but these 2 are both fresh scents. Yeah, that Parisian Frost, even with having not pulled out completely, like it's kind of ruining the other 2 for me. So I'm looking forward to blowing that one out. Burn issues, there were none. Listen, all 3 of these burned as well as they possibly could. It's the Kringle soy formulation. It's an incredibly clean burn. No wick issues. The wicks have been perfect. No like big mushroom tops on any of these. They're just not messy candles. So those are my thoughts. I hope that this was helpful. Good luck tomorrow if you plan on shopping this particular release. Like I said, the only one that I think could potentially sell out is going to be Frosted Dawn. And I don't know the numbers that were poured for this particular release. They don't tell us that information. So my fingers are crossed that they knew maybe that Frosted Dawn would do a little bit better and that they poured some extra of that one. That is what I'm gonna cross my fingers for. Frosted Dawn is one that I do want more of. But at this point, I am still waiting for my last 2 Kringle orders that I placed, when was that? Like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and they are just now shipping. So with Frosted Dawn being more of like a Christmas type scent for me, yeah, I'm probably good on all of my Christmas scents for Kringle for this year, but I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that this one sticks around for next year. It's just really, really beautiful. So anyway, if you guys are going to be shopping this release, I hope that you get everything that you want. I hope that you enjoy these fragrances. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I should be able to be in the comments tonight to answer any questions. I do have to work a really long day tomorrow, so I probably will not be able to check comments at all. So yeah, if you have any questions, ask them tonight. All right, I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe if you are new, give this video a thumbs up, and toodaloo.